Welcome back. Today we talk about the ancient Egyptian capitals. The hopeful history of Egypt through the ages is that its grandfather was and still is the cradle of many civilizations and kingdoms that were established on its land. For water is the river Nile, flat land, and constant. Her love is now with the borders of a safe edition, and deserts in the east and west, and a source, linking it to the third DNA continents, and a privileged location. Climate. All these factors and other factors made Egypt occupy its prestigious position moderately. Through the ages. The hopeful history of Egypt through the ages is that its grandfather was and still is the cradle of many civilizations and kingdoms that were established on its land. For water is the river Nile, flat land, and constant. Her love is now with the borders of a safe edition, and deserts in the east and west, and a source, linking it to the third DNA continents, and a privileged location. Climate. All these factors and other factors made Egypt occupy its prestigious position moderately. Through the ages. Egypt has been known through the ages by a set of features that express the addition of its land and its geographical status. And you can divide these features are into the third group, according to the chronology of the appearance of these names. The first group, it is the one that was launched by the ancient Egyptian. Since ancient times, it was called Kemet, that is, the earth. Black or fertile land is a reference to the valley of the Nile, which the Egyptian had cultivated since the custom of agriculture. And he called it that. Dashert, i.e., red land or desert land, referring to the largest area of the land of Egypt that represents the land. Desert. He called it Tawi, i.e., Al-Ardan, referring to the two presidents of Egypt, southern and northern Egypt, i.e., ascendants and delta. To heart and mind. Of all these names, the closest name was the Egyptian name, Kemet, and therefore it was the most used, and remained in use throughout ancient times, to refer to the whole country. Group B. This group is the name of Hat-Ka-Ptah, which is originally the name of the most famous temple of god Ptah in the city of Memphis, and who resided in the juvenile state, and the longer bouquet is still until now, and he means the seat of the century of god Ptah. It seems that the ancient Egyptian used this. Their name is a temple in the most important and oldest capital of Egypt, inspired the gods in ancient Egypt, to shoot it on all of Egypt. For the third group, stand on top of it the name Egypt, by which Egypt is known even from us, that name that was mentioned in the Quran, generosity, and in the Torah. It is common that the word Egypt is the word chariot meaning Qatar, and gathered on Amsar, and when the Muslims conquered Egypt found Arabs difficulty in pronouncing Egypta is a reference to the Egyptian citizen, so they pronounce it Ikbota and Copt, and from here we find that the word Copt. It is used to indicate to the Egyptian citizen, whether he is a den with a swab or a Muslim embrace. Since the 14th century before the birth, it was mentioned in the languages of the Shura, the Babylonian, the Fanga, the Arab, and the Abra, the names of Egypt as follows: Musher, Egypt, photographer; Misro, Misram. Just as there were many kingdoms and civilizations that were established on the land of Egypt through successive eras of time, there were many capitals of those kingdoms, and their locations and places varied throughout Egypt. The first capital, Al-Tana 2950 BC to 2895 BC, its Egyptian name, Want, the Romans Tinis, and Arabs Tana. It is now known as Barba, Gergea Center, Sohag Governorate, and it is the birthplace of the King of Us unified. It contains the ruins of its Egyptian temple Al-Qatran, and is considered the first capital of Lower Egypt and Qibla together, and he called it Barba because the foot, and the people of the Egyptian ascendants called every place that contained the trace of Pharaoh, righteousness, i.e., bit, and the syllable, Ba, i.e., spirit. And the sum of it, the bit of the soul, is the grave. For the second capital, Memphis, 2895 BC to 2360 BC. From the first family to the 8th dynasty, its name is the Pharaoh. Anb, Hajj, and, from, Nefar. And also, Mat, Ranat, and its name is Alonan, Memphis, and its name is Al-Masa and the Arabs, Memphis, and it is mentioned in the Torah as, Nuf. It is located immediately in Kart, Met Rana, Badrashan, 6th of October Governorate, and is considered Memphis of the oldest. The Egyptian capitals chosen by the king from us after the unification of the two countries, the Kingdom of the North and the Kingdom of the South, to transfer the capital god from Muscat, Ras Medina, Tana, to this city which is located at the head of the delta to be the capital of the Egyptian country. Her name was the Pharaoh Anb, Hajj, J, the White Wall, and he called it also, from, nafar, i.e., fixed and camel, and then, died, mortgaged, i.e., the ways of rams, but Char was a god usually called, from Nefer. Since its founding, Memphis has remained a great city emitting rays that illuminated the roads of the city. Char was a god usually called, from Nefer. Since its founding, Memphis has remained a great city emitting rays that illuminated the roads of the city, and used its stones bouquet for the building of the city of Fustat. For the third capital, Eknasa 2360 BC to 2160 BC. The 9th dynasty, the 10th dynasty, its name is the Pharaoh. NNNSW. And also, Hat-Nin-Sa, and its name is the Drowning, Herculopolis, and its name is Al-Masa, Enis, and its name is the Arabs. Eknasa. It is located immediately, the cities of Ben Suf Governorate, moved to the capital after the unbridled revolution that carried out the country. Move. The Egyptian against the aristocratic classes that had the reins of affairs at the time, and the cities of Lower Egypt were the most agitated cities. South, Nin, Nshu, or Hat-Nin, Nshu, which means, the seat of the child king in this city was the seat of the king to the city of the worship of God, free, healing, who then linked the drowning to his son and the son of their god, Hercules, and for this they called the city the name Herculopolis, known in the era as Enis, and the carriage was corrupted to its immediate name Eknasa. Fourth capital, Taba 2160 BC to 1715 BC. Acute 10 beds, 13th dynasty Luxor city. Immediately, her name is the Pharaoh, Ta-Ibit, i.e., the sanctuary, or the holy place, and in Alwanana, Tab-I, or Thab-I, which is the name from which all the words denoting Taba in recent European languages such as Thebes are derived, and the name Thebes is retained. The town in the cart Taba with the same Egyptian name, Ta-Ibt. Taba is mentioned in the Torah as Tadamun, i.e., the city of Amun, and remained Taba the capital of the country. Al-Mazrah for the first time 450 years, has spread the city of Amun with 100 doors of gold. Fifth capital, Kasut 1715 BC to 1660 BC. The 14th dynasty. It is located immediately, Sakah, south of its cities Kafr al-Sheikh Governorate. Her name is Pharaoh, Kasu, her name is the Romans, Exorus, her name is Al-Masa, Sakoi, and she became in the cart Sakah, and this is her name until now. Sixth capital, Awars 1660 BC to 1580 BC. 15th dynasty, 16th dynasty, located immediately. Kara Baluza, Department of Rumina, North Sana Governorate, known in the pharaonic texts as Bar Iman, which means the bit of God. And I knew Ada Amun, which is the name that turned in the cart into Pharma with the moment of substitution been the letter Allah and Alpha in the name of Awart, which was later known in the carriage as Awars. The entire region is mentioned in the Wanana texts as Blazem, and from it. The Arabic name of this region, which was known as Blues, was derived, which is the most famous name for this region, which has now mutated into the current name. For this area, which is Bala Oza, it was known in the Christian era as Brahman, and the name Blues overshadowed the city in the era. Awars became the capital of Egypt in 1660 BC. When the Hyksos raped, they ruled Egypt by precision and fire for 80 years. Thanks for watching. Weighing the next video. Support us by subscribes and likes.